Hey guys, it's me Kate again. So in this video we'll be talking about my yearly starts of 2021. So this presentation is divided in two parts. First is read, the second one is acquired. So first we're going to read. So some general information. I read a total of 399 books, out of which I finished 395 and then left 4. Uh, the numbers average to 33.25 books a month, so 33 books in the quarter. Total pages read is 128,300, and days per book are 0.95. So basically, it took me less than a day per book. Average rating is 4.24, which is a little bit lower than usual. I think that my usual is more towards 4.5 or 4.6. The longest book that I read was The Wise Man's Fear. The shortest one was 16 Formulas That Convince and 101 Headlines That Convert Readers to Leads. Most popular book was Pride and Prejudice, and the least popular was Stranger. So average pages per book is 321.55. Average pages per month is 10,691.67. Average pages per day is 351.51. Then we have ratings. I gave out 231 5-star ratings, which is around 58% of my reading, and the biggest part of this chart you see over here. I also gave 101 4-stars, which is the second largest part of the chart. And we have 23 stars, 26 2 stars, and 21 1-stars, which is actually, I think, more than ever given out in a year. So basically, in a year, I usually give out 1 to 5 1-stars, and this year I gave out 21 of them. So then books per month. So in January I read 5 books, in February 4, March 8, April 26, May 83, June 34, July 44, August 36, September 57, October 52, November 23, and December 27. So that's quite a range per books. You see that I jumped for less than 10 books a month to over 20, so that's a big jump. Then we have pages per month. In January, I read 1,628 pages. In February, 259 pages. In March, 3,192. In April, 9,446. in May 20,086 pages, which is only around 16% of my reading. So you can see how actually small amount of pages I actually read in that 83 books. In June, I read 6,436 pages. In July, 11,430. In August, 12,356. In September, 20,802. In October, 16,658 pages. In November, 9,284, and in December, 9,295. So formats that I read books in, I read 150 physical books, which is this year my second largest portion, even though it usually is the largest one. This year I read 194 ebooks, which is usually around 3 books a year, so that's a big jump. I listened to 55 audiobooks, but as I listen to only one audiobook every 3 years, this is a real improvement, I have to say. So publication year. So I read 8 books that were published prior to 1900s. One book that was published between 1931 and 1940. 2 books that were published between 1941 and 1950. 6 that were published between 1951 and 1960. One that was published between 1981 and 1990. 15 that were published decade before I was born, between 1991 and 2000. Then 41 books that were published between 2001 and 2010. 25 books that were published in 2011. 6 books that were published in 2012. 16 books that were published in 2013. 25 books that were published in 2014, and 31 books that were published in 2015, 2016, and 2017, respectively. 45 books that were published in 1918. 57 books published in 2019. 43 books published in 2020, and 25 books published in 2021. So for the age range, I read 142 adult books, 229 young adult books, and 28 books targeted at either middle grade or children's audience, depending on the classification. So for the main genre, I read 8 classics, 7 comics, 41 contemporary, 142 fantasies, 9 historical fictions, 1 horror, 83 mangas, 2 memoirs, 5 mysteries, 17 non-fictions, 44 paranormals, 23 romances, 16 science fictions, and 1 thriller. And this is a big jump because horror, mysteries, and thrillers are usually all together 3 books a year. So the fact that there is 7 of them put together is more than double. For the notable subgenres, we have 57 paranormal romances, 8 fantasy romances, 41 contemporary romances, 13 historical romances, 93 high fantasies, 27 urban fantasies, 14 shoujo mangas, 72 shonen mangas, and 4 love fantasies. 304 books, or about 76% of my reading were books that I read for the first time in 2021, and a 95 or around 24% for rereads. I think that in 2022 there will be more rereads, but I'm not completely sure. 93 books, or around 24% of my reading for standalones, and 306 or around 76% were books in a series. When we come to break down those books in a series, there were 130 first books in a series, or around 43% of the books in the series. Then 146 books that were in the middle of the series, which is around 48%, and 29 books, or around 10%, that were last in the series. The reason that books in the middle of the series is so large is because I read several long manga series, one of which has 36 volumes, and two have 9 volumes, one has 7 volumes. So you have 3, 4, 7, 7, 5, 14, 48, 53 manga volumes just in that middle section. So for language reading, I read 350 books in English, which is around 88% of my reading, and 49 books in Croatian, or around 12%. This is actually how I want to be, because I want to practice more my English and less my Croatian. I think I know as good as it will get. So we come to the statistics regarding pages in the book. 27 of the books that I read in 2021 had less than 100 pages. 105 had between 101 and 200. 70 had between 201 and 300. 91 had between 301 and 400. 48 had between 401 and 500. 23 had between 501 and 600. 14 had between 601 and 700. 7 had between 701 and 800. 2 had between 801 and 900. 3 books had between 901 and 1000 pages, and 5 books were over 1,000 pages long. So you see that actually, I read, just if we count the ones over 100 pages and the ones between 100 and 200 and that's already several hundred pages of books. So regarding books with some kind of LGBTQIA plus representation, 90 books had gay representation, 11 lesbian, 14 bisexual, 1 trans, 1 asexual, 8 genderqueer, and 3 non-binary. And I think that these stats don't actually include all the books that had representation. These were just books I could find representation for. So if I couldn't find the representation in certain book, I just put none, but that doesn't mean that there is not any chance that I couldn't find any at that point in time. So regarding that author's gender, I read 93 books by male authors, which is around 23%. Then 248 female authors, which is around 62%, and 58 uh, or around 15% of a term other, which basically means that the author is either non-binary, genderqueer, or some other kind of gender identity. Just I didn't want to label them by wrong stuff, so I just put other. So and also that other features, if the book was co-authored by both male and female authors, just so I don't have to have a million columns of authors, I just put other. Then regarding authors race, I didn't put in a lot of minor ethnicities because I found that they were basically insignificant in a greater scheme of things. It's the difference would be around 2%. So or even less, considering that I read around 10 books that were by authors with some minor ethnicities, so that's around 1 or 2%, so there wasn't point of going on and on about authors' ethnicity, so I just put on 3 large race groups, which is white, black, and Asian. I read 283 books by white authors, and that features a lot of minor ethnicities. Black 14 books by black authors, which is a lot more than I thought it was, and 102 books by Asian authors, again featuring a lot of minor ethnicities. Black authors, I think, were all American, while I read some authors from different spectrum of white race and a bigger spectrum of Asian, but as I said, those would be statistically insignificant and would have not real impact on a greater scheme of things. And so regarding the publisher, I read 11 books by Profil, 8 by Gollancz, 4 by Knopf, 24 by Simon and Schuster, 2 by Electric Monkey, 7 by Hotkey Books, 13 by Znania, 1 by Algorithm, 12 by Misspelled Bloomsbury with no missing S, 11 by Misspelled Penguin, considering that I put A instead of E, but I was really tired and couldn't be bothered. 45 by HarperCollins, 79 by Viz Media LLC, 1 by Norton, 7 by Titan Books, 3 by Focus, 6 by Vintage, 14 by Macmillan, 11 by Mosaic Kniga, and 140 by Other, which features a lot of minor publishers and some indie publishers and indie published books. So that one I put from 2022 in my page is a lot more minor categories, because a lot of these books were indie published. So for the next year they're going in another stat section. So, and now on to the acquired. So I acquired total of 71 books, which averages around 6 per month. So I acquired 7 in January, 6 in February, 1 in March, 7 in April, 15 in June, 9 in July, 14 in August, 5 in September, 2 in October, 3 in November, and 2 in December. So regarding the money spent on books, and this is all in kunas, I spent 433 kunas in January, 580 in February, 79 in March, 653 in April, the 470 in September, 243 in November, and 83 in December. So that totals to 2,567 kunas for books, which averages to 2,100 to 213.92 kunas per month, and my budget was, I think, 500 kunas a month. So even though in some months I spent a lot more, it still averages to less than my budget, and it averages to 36.16 kunas per book. So that's actually a lot of books that I bought were at least 40 kunas uh, more expensive than that average. So regarding the main genre, I got 2 classics, 3 contemporaries, 3 comics, 11 contemporaries, 36 fantasies, 1 historical fiction, 5 mangas, 1 memoir, 1 non-fiction, 3 science fiction, 2 paranormal, 4 romances, and 2 thrillers. For the age breakdown, I got 26 adult books, which is around 37% of the books, 40 YA, which is around 56%, and 5 books, or around 7%, targeted to middle grade or children's audiences. I acquired 19 books in series, or around 27%, and 52 books in a series, which is around 23%. So out of all of those books in a series, 21 were first in a series, or around 40%. 25 were somewhere in the middle of the series, which is around 48%. And 6 were last books in a series, which equals to around 12%. So I bought 28 books, which is around 39%. I got gifted 21 books, which is around 30%, and I borrowed 22 books, which is around 31%. For the languages, were those books that I got were 65 in English, which is around 92%, and 6 were in Croatian, which is around 8%. As for the publication year, 2 of the books were published prior to 1900. One was uh, published between 1991 and 2005 were published between 2001 and 2010. Two were published between 2012 in 2012. One was published in 2013. Three were published in 2014. Six were published in 2015. Four were published in 2016. Two were published in 2017. 13 were published in 2018. Nine were published in 2019. 14 were published in 2020, and 9 were published in 2021. So regarding LGBTQIA plus rep, 15 books had gay representation, 6 had lesbian, 5 bisexual, 1 trans, and 1 genderqueer. This also, as for a red category, may not include books that I couldn't find a specific LGBTQIA plus rep. So then regarding the author's gender, we have 21 male authors or around 30%, 45 female authors or around 63%, 5 other authors which is around 7%. Then regarding authors' race, we have 61 white authors or about 86%, 3 black authors which is around 4%, and 7 Asian authors, which is around 10%. For publishers, we have 4 Gollans, 3 Knopf, 4 Simon & Schuster, 1 Electric Monkey, 5 Kottke Books, 1 Znanje, 4 Penguin Random House, 5 HarperCollins, 1 Focus, 5 Viz Media LLC, 2 Titan Books, 2 Vintage, 6 Macmillan, 24 other, and 1 Profile. And thank you for your time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Down below you have my social media, my email, and some other stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.